Welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Law, SOL, Diploma in Paralegal Practice, DIP. BLEPOO1 Clinical Course. Block 1 Guide to Legal Research and Writing. Unit 1 Legal Method. 1.1 Introduction. In this unit, you will learn what it is about legal method and analysis that requires you to approach legal problems in a different manner. You will gain a basic understanding of legal systems and the classification of legal rules. You will also learn about the different sources of law and when they apply to a given situation. You will learn how to identify the important facts of a case and to discard facts that are not relevant. You will also learn how to identify the issue that is important for the resolution of a case and to correlate this to the facts at hand. You will learn how to analyze legal issues using the Issue Rule Application Conclusion (IRAC) method, which you can apply to any case you might be dealing with. 1.2 Objectives. After going through this unit, you should be able to explain the nature of the legal system and the classification of legal rules. Use legal method and analysis in any given case. Adopt the IRAC method as one of the methods for analysis and identify the different sources of law and their relevance. 1.3 Legal Method and Analysis. 1.3.1 What is legal method? Legal method is the study of how to approach law and legal problems in order to analyze a legal issue in depth and effectively put forward an argument. The term legal method means the manner and approach of assessing the case facts and issues, and how you will present your case. It is the background for all cases and disputes that you may come across, regardless of the type of legal issue and the nature of the case. This is the fundamental building block that you need to be thorough with to appreciate any legal dispute or case. The manner of approaching law and legal issues also depends on perspective and the legal system that we are part of. 1.3.2 Classification of law. In order to understand legal method and to appreciate the context in which disputes and cases arise, it is important for you to understand the foundations of the legal system and classifications of law. The legal system comprises the laws that govern and the method of applying these laws. It includes the legitimacy of the law and its source. There are different classifications and ways to assess the legal system. While the following is not an exhaustive list, it will give you an idea of the various ways of approaching law. 1.3.2.1 Common Law and Civil Law. The first major difference in legal systems around the world is the classification into common law and civil law. A common law country derives its legal system largely from the traditions and heritage of the British legal system. This includes countries such as India, the United States of America, Canada, and Britain. This system relies upon judge-made law and law as it evolves through case law. While there is reliance upon legislation, this varies across different common law countries. The adversarial nature of the system, i.e. the role of the lawyers to argue a legal issue, contributed to the development of the law. This is the means of evolution of the law. The idea of precedent, where once a legal issue in a case is decided it binds other parties also, is an essential part of the common law system and the development of the law in a cohesive manner. This is important for a level of certainty and predictability of legal outcome in such a system. In the civil law system, in countries such as France, Germany and Italy, the main source of the law is statutes. The role of lawyers and judges is limited to interpreting statutes and is not the same as the adversarial system. The role of the judge is also different. The judge is less of a referee between parties and plays a more proactive role in decision-making during the course of proceedings. Further, there is no precedent value for case law, and each case is determined on an individual basis. In India, the legal system that we follow is the common law system, due to our legal heritage from the British. This means that we follow judge-made law, but we also have a number of statutes that have codified much of the law of the land. Hence, while we not only rely upon our constitution and statutes, we also follow legal precedent in the form of case law laid down by the courts. These are all essential components of the legal system that is followed in India. 1.3.2.2 Substantive and Procedural Law. Another division in law is that of substantive law and procedural law. Substantive law means the rights or obligations that are placed on individuals or entities by the law. For example, the right to contract or transfer property is stipulated as per the law. On the other hand, procedural law is the process and method of enforcement of rights that are conferred by the substantive law. For example, in order to ensure a person's right to practice his or her religion as per the Constitution, there is a mechanism stipulated whereby the person can approach the courts to enforce this right and to obtain a remedy from the court. This manner of approaching the court is regulated by procedural law. Another example can be found in the area of criminal law. In India, the Indian Penal Code of 1860 lays down the crimes and punishment for various crimes. The Code of Criminal Procedure, 1973 lays down the procedure to be followed in the investigation of cases, as well as the course of the trial. This includes the filing of a first information report, FIR, and charges, and the procedures during the trial. 1.3.2.3 Civil and Criminal Law. Yet another classification of law is that of civil and criminal law. In this case, civil law is not to be confused with the civil law system, as described in subsection 1.3.1.1 above. Here, civil law describes the rights of an individual nature, or private rights. This means, for example, the rights that arise out of a contract entered into by a person. When a person seeks to enforce these rights, either against another person or the government, then the nature of this dispute is civil. Also, the nature of the remedies that may be asked for is different in a civil case from a criminal case. In a civil case, remedies such as compensation, injunction and may be requested. On the other hand, a criminal case is the enforcement of rights by the state against a person, on behalf of the society as a whole. The underlying ideal is that it is in the interest of the entire society in ensuring that such crimes are not committed. Hence, the state has the power to pursue justice and to ensure that the perpetrator is punished. In criminal cases, the punishment is usually imprisonment, with monetary fines in certain cases. In the rarest of the rare cases, the maximum penalty that is imposed is death. 1.3.2.4 Municipal and International Law. Municipal law refers to the domestic law of a country, whether this is criminal law or civil law, substantive or procedural. This is the body of laws and rules that govern conduct within a country, including its constitution, statutes, rules and case law. Different countries have their own domestic law and legal systems. While there may be commonality of certain laws and concepts, municipal law is still the law unique to each country's jurisdiction. By contrast, international law refers to legal rules formulated at the international level by states. According to Article 38 of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, there are different sources of international law, such as when states agree to certain obligations in the form of a treaty, or else by customary international law, which develops due to the practice of states. Another source is laws within different states. As a secondary means, international law also includes decisions of international courts and tribunals, such as the International Criminal Court, the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea and the Dispute Settlement Board of the World Trade Organization. It also refers to the writings of eminent jurists and publicists. As you can see, international law includes a wide range of subjects such as international criminal law, law of the seas and international trade law etc. 1.4 Formal sources of law. Every legal system has different sources of law that you need to know in order to analyze a given legal problem and to find a solution. Formal sources of law are those that indicate the authority or weight that is to be given when assessing a given legal problem. This has an impact on the outcome of cases. In India, the formal sources of law are 1.4.1 Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is the most important source of law in India, which came into effect on the 26th of January 1950. It is the supreme law of the land and has a status higher than that of ordinary legislation. The Constitution not only contains the substantive laws that govern the Republic, but is also the source from which many of the laws of the land are derived. By virtue of the Constitution, there is distribution of powers between the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. The Constitution contains articles that cover subjects such as center-state relations, powers of the President, fundamental rights and directive principles. The rights under the Constitution can be enforced by approaching the courts. The law-making power of the legislature and the procedure for the passage of a bill into a binding law or legislation is also contained in the Constitution. 1.4.2 Statutes, Acts. Statutes, Acts are legislation passed by Parliament, state legislature, and have the status of law of the land. Examples of this are the Energy Conservation Act 2001 or the Right to Information Act 2005. These enactments stipulate laws and rules that are to be followed by courts and individuals, and reflect the will of the legislature in formulating the laws. The Constitution of India stipulates the procedure for the passage of bills into legislation. Further, there are some subjects that only the central legislature can formulate into law, and there are others that are left to the state legislatures to pass into law. The 7th schedule of the Constitution of India has 3 lists: the Union List, which contains all the subjects that only Parliament can enact laws on; the State List, which contains those that the state legislature can enact laws on; and the Concurrent List, which contains subjects that both the central and state legislature can legislate upon. State legislatures may further devolve some powers to local governance bodies by virtue of the 73rd and 74th Amendments to the Constitution in 1992. Once a bill is passed by the legislature, it acquires the status of an act. Usually, when an act is passed by a state or the center, it contains a provision to enable the government to formulate rules that will give effect to the enactment. These rules are for effective implementation of the provisions of the enactment and are also binding in nature. This is known as subordinate legislation. Another law that is of temporary nature is an ordinance that may be promulgated by the President or the Governor of a state, under Article 123 and Article 213 of the Constitution of India respectively. Ordinances are promulgated in case the legislature is not in session, and a law needs to be formulated. This is a temporary occurrence, and must eventually be replaced by a law from Parliament or state legislature. The ordinance also has the force of law when in force. 1.4.3 Common Law and Case Law. As mentioned previously, common law is the law that is derived from case law and has evolved over time. This is also called English common law and is applied in India. Common law is essentially judge-made law that applies to issues. Over time, in India, there has been greater development of statute-made law to overcome gaps in the common law. However, the common law principles continue to govern several critical areas and have an impact on our daily lives. For example, the groundwater in this country continues to be governed by the common law principle of ownership vesting with the landowner, resulting in over-exploitation of groundwater across many districts in the country. Case law decided by the Supreme Court is given the status of law of the land, as per Article 141 of the Constitution of India. This means that it has a binding effect and is applied throughout the country. 1.4.4 Custom and Usage. Custom is a practice that courts have held to be immemorial, uninterrupted and certain. When a practice has these characteristics, it has the force of law if so determined by a court. This is distinct from usage, which means something that has been done uniformly in a particular area. Large sections of society continue to be governed by their traditional laws, and these have been given legitimacy. For example, several tribal rules and customs govern their way of life, and this is upheld by the law of the land. Both custom and usage can be interpreted by the courts to apply to a particular legal situation, but the courts exercise caution in doing this. Further, these principles are applied usually in the absence of common law or statute law on the point. 1.4.5 Justice, Equity and Good Conscience. According to the English law tradition, in case of a gap in the law, the rules of justice, equity and good conscience must be used. In the context of India, in case There is no constitutional provision, legislation or common law on a particular issue, then the court must adjudicate keeping these principles in mind. The principles of justice, equity and good conscience ensure that the court arrives at a decision that is fair and just to the parties to the dispute. It is in the power of a court to apply such principles in the absence of other rules or laws on the point. The application of the principles to the case at hand is left to the discretion of the judge, keeping in mind the aim of the principle. 1.4.6 International Law. International law is a source of law that applies between nations and also to persons in a country. The method of application of international law is through domestic law in the case of India. This means that, for example, when India signs an international treaty agreeing to certain obligations under international law, these obligations must then be enacted in a legislation for it to have direct effect and to apply as law of the land. The Constitution of India stipulates that international obligations must be adhered to. Article 51, c, of the Constitution emphasizes the respect for international treaties keeping in mind peace and comity of nations, and Article 253 places an obligation on Parliament to legislate in respect of any international treaty or agreement. An example of the application of international law is as follows. India has signed the Geneva Conventions of 1949, which are international treaties that govern the conduct of hostilities. In order for this to be implemented as per the treaty, India has enacted the Geneva Conventions Act of 1960 for this purpose. Figure 1.1, Sources of Law. Look at the screen. 1.5 IRAC Method. The IRAC method is a short form for the term Issue Rule Application. Conclusion. This is used to approach any given legal problem and situation. While this is not the only method that may be used, it is a good way for you to approach a legal problem. Follow a step-by-step approach and evaluate each of the components of IRAC. These elements are as follows. Issue means identification of the problem that is giving rise to a legal claim. This means finding the root cause of the dispute. Rule means the rule of law or rules that are applicable in this case. Application is the stage at which you apply the issue to the rule and assess where you stand. Conclusion is the stage you reach after the application stage, where you determine the result of the application of the rule to the particular issue. Issue, identify the problem. Rule, what is the law governing the issue? Application, apply the law to the problem. Conclusion, what is the final result? An example of using this method to approach problems is the following. Rinku studies in a college. She has to submit her homework to the teacher by 10 a.m. on the 7th of July, as per the teacher's instructions. If she does not submit by this time, she will lose 5 marks. Rinku submits her homework at 10:15 a.m. on 7 July. Here, when you apply the IRAC method, this is how you will approach this problem. Issue, will Rinku lose 5 marks for submitting the homework late? Rule, the rule states that she must submit it by 10 a.m., and if she does not, she will lose 5 marks. Application, the submission time was 10 a.m. Rinku submits it at 10:15 a.m., making her 15 minutes late in submitting. Conclusion, Rinku will lose 5 marks for her homework. 1.6 Fact Analysis. Your approach to a dispute or case will be essentially the same, regardless of the subject matter of the dispute. For example, whether a case relates to domestic violence or property disputes, you will still need to follow the IRAC method and ascertain the relevant facts at hand. This is a crucial starting point, clarity in the facts of the case that are relevant to the dispute. This is essential in formulating not only the issues at hand, but also in guiding your research and writing strategy. Subjects that you will learn in the following units. When undertaking a factual analysis, you must follow a methodical approach. One of the first steps that you need to take is to note all the factual details in an in-depth manner. To assess the factual situation in a detailed manner, you will need to talk to the parties concerned. You will also need to go through the relevant documentation in the case, so that all your assertions are backed by credible documents or evidence. It is helpful to classify the facts at hand on the basis of the following headings. Parties involved in the dispute, the place of the dispute, the basis of the case, the defenses raised and the relief that is sought in the case or dispute. In simpler terms, these are the questions that you need to ask. X. Who are the parties involved, and what is their relationship to the case? X. What is the factual background of the dispute? X. What are the facts that are relevant and material to the dispute specifically? X. Where is the case located? X. What do the parties want, and how do they want to resolve the case? It is also important to separate the relevant or material facts from irrelevant facts. In the case example, Mr. Ghosh tells you that he has a dispute with his neighbor over his property. Mr. Ghosh says that the neighbor's wall is on his property and he wants to demolish it. In this case, you will need to assess that the neighbor's wall is actually on the property of Mr. Ghosh. After speaking to Mr. Ghosh, who has told you this fact, you must also check the property documents of Mr. Ghosh to check the size of his property and check if the neighbor's wall is on that property. The fact that the neighbor's dog barks during the night is not relevant to the issue at hand. 1.7 Summary. 9. Legal method is the manner and approach to ensure good legal analysis and legal skills. 9. There are different legal systems and classifications of legal rules. The two legal systems are the common law system, which is followed in India, and the civil law system. The classification of legal rules can be on the basis of substantive and procedural law, civil and criminal law, municipal and international law. The sources of law in India are as follows: Constitution of India, statutory law, common law, custom and usage, justice, equity and good conscience. International law. These are sources of law, with authority when assessing legal rules. The IRAC method means the sorting of information on a legal problem, by assessing the issue, rule, analysis and then conclusion. It is only one method of analysis. There can be other ways of analyzing a case. Factual analysis is important when examining legal problems. This must be done in a thorough manner, looking at the relevant facts for a particular case. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.